Buenos dias, señoritas y señoritos. Tila'y na-confirm ng isang lawyer at anti-crime expert na tama yung sinasabi ni VAT or tama nga yung analysis ni VAT na as shown by the 6.7 billion shabu howl or shabu cover-up anomaly na kinasangkutan ng 3-star general, 1-star general, and several colonels, captains, and majors dyan sa Philippine National Police ay nagpapakita nga na because of the very corrupt, very incompetent, and very deadly anti-drug campaign ni President Duterte, kung saan parang binigyan ang pulis, binigyan ang PIDEA ng free hand na parang mga Diyos sila. They have the power over life and death. Dahil dito, dahil sa human nature natin, inabuso ng mga pulis, at in the end, pati si President Duterte must have realized na nagkamali siya. Kumbaga, he opened the Pandora's box na hindi na niya ma-close ulit. Yung Philippine National Police Organization, because of the temptation by the generals to commit corruption, to earn billions, to earn hundreds of millions, because it is in their power, and because President Duterte is always telling them, ako ang bahala sa inyo. Pumatay kayo, ako ang bahala sa iyo. Papatayin kita. So, lahat tayo natakot. The whole country became parang negros tayo ngayon, noon, na walang pwede magsalita laban sa mga Teves, walang pwede haharang sa mga ginagawa ng mga bata ng nila Arnie Teves. Parang ganito ang buong bansa under the Duterte government, na parang lahat tayo pipi at bingi na lang, at karamihan yung 16 million na sumuporta pa na Duterte supporters, they were cheering on pa si President Duterte na sinasabi yung anti-drug campaign niya was the best. Pero ngayon, as it turned out, it's the worst campaign ever. Second lang sa anti-human rights campaign ni President Ferdinand E. Marcos, kung saan 70 ang pinatay, 30,000 ang nakulong, libo-libo ang namatay. So, during that time, we all got scared. Kung magsalita ka laban sa anti-drug campaign, parang sasabihan ka adik, ipaplanted ka ng ebidensya, kung ikukulong ka, i-charge ka ng... At marami na pong mga nag-post lang ng mga memes, ng mga blogs against kay Duterte, against sa police, na kinasuan noon ng police at ng NBI. So in that kind of environment, lumabas yung corrupting nature ng mga kapulisan. At hindi lang sa pulis, nakita natin no less than yung mga high-ranking customs officials ni President Duterte at mga appointees sa mga deputy commissioner, mga customs police, nasangkutan rin dyan sa multi-trillion drug smuggling. Two commissioners ang nasangkot dyan, kasama na si Paeldon. Pagkatapos meron pa dyan mga kaso na yung mga Chinese na suspected shabu smugglers or drug lords ginagawang presidential assistant. So ganon. So all of this resulted in the PNP, and as shown by the 6.7 billion shabu anomaly, na akala kasi ng nitong mga generals na they can still do cover up. Akala nila existing pa rin yung panahon ni Duterte. in fairness, nagkamali sila. They thought medyo weak or mahina or incompetent itong presidente natin. Pero kahit papaano, pati cabinet members niya, kahit papaano nakakabilib naman yung determination ni Secretary Abalos, Benhur Abalos, at saka syempre may clearance ito kay presidente and si President Marcos mismo na tinotohanan talaga niya yung blinag natin noon na quoting him na hahabulin niya talaga yung mga high ranking, yung mga drug lords, hindi yung maliliit na mga bata-bata na nagbebenta ng isang daan na marijuana sa isang linggo. Mga ganoon, mga bata-bata lang na pinapatay noon. At hindi isinasama yung mga alleged drug lords tulad sa mga personalidad ng mga congressmen, mayors, governors, at nakita natin yan sa sitwasyon dyan sa Negros. At earlier, pinaresign rin yung 300 generals and colonels na nagkasangkot sa drugs. Pero nakalusot ito mga officials na sangkutan sa 6.7 cover-up, 6.7 billion shabu cover-up. So marami pa talaga yan. Ibig sabihin, halos buong PNP ay na-convert na talaga into a whole, strong, and very powerful and uncontrollable criminal organization or drug organization. So, may interview po ginawa sa lawyer po ng mga biktima ng EJ case noon, ng 30,000 tao na namatay sa EJ case. At sila rin po, may grupo rin sila ng anti-crime. Meron sila po estimate na from 2016 daw to 2022, ang PNP ay nakahuli ng 11,900 kilos, 11,900 kilograms of shabu from during the entire administration of President Duterte. At nakikita nila, ito na yun dito sa 6.7 billion, 900 kilos lang. So, ibig sabihin, meron pa 11 kilos na nandyan pa sa posisyon. Hawak pa ng mga police generals, ng mga police colonels, at mga majors. Dito nga, captain, master sergeant lang ang nahulihan. May ganito. Lalo pa kayo yung mga generals, yung mga colonels. So, pakinggan po natin yung interview niya na parang na kinoconfirma niya yung earlier analogy natin na hawak nila lahat ng mga drugs na nahuhuli nila or na nakukuha nila sa mga drug lords or pinapatay na drug lords. Pagkatapos tinatago nila ito at sila na mismo nagbebenta nito. Malas lang nila may Benhur Abalos na hindi sila pinakawalan sa issue na ito. Akala nila lusot na sila. So, pakinggan po natin itong lawyer na in-interview ni Karina Constantino po sa ANC sa Dateline program niya. At ANC, pahingi naman itong video nyo, ha? Huwag nyo akong i-copyright. We're using this lang. Anyway, nasa public domain naman ito at meron naman tayo right to use this under the Fair Use Act. And there is really no intention for us to violate your copyright. Gagamitin na natin ito as part of our, as part of our advocacy against corruption.
Action to this latest controversy hounding the police force. We're now joined by attorney Cristina Conti. She is the assisting counsel for Rise Up for Life and for Rights. That's a group composed of victims of the bloody drug war under the Duterte administration. Attorney Conti, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Carmina. Always a pleasure.
All right. So the arrest of Sergeant Mayo in a bypass operation, that happened late last year under the current administration. But knowing now that there is an alleged cover-up, an attempt to cover up, and this is coming from Secretary Abalos himself, what does this tell you about the police operations that happened during the drug war under the Duterte administration, Attorney Conti?
Well, it validates a lot of our beliefs from what we know from the ground. As of the end of the war on drugs, the entity or the group that had the most number of drugs, because they had confiscated or seized drugs, would be the police. In fact, according to the record, the police had seized around 11,900 kilograms of drugs, or shabu specifically, from June 2016 to May 2022. And this is a lot. The 900 kilos of drugs that were seized in October last year would just be perhaps just a little bit, because this is in Manila. Well, we know there are a lot of other areas in the country which are also hotspots for drug buy-busts and seizures. So it was worrisome for us that this operation and the eventual investigation into it appears to have validated a lot of our findings and beliefs from the ground, that the police are taking these drugs not only for themselves, but to set up others as well.
You know what the supporters of the Duterte administration have said, that the drug war under his watch was successful. Was it really, knowing what we know now from Secretary Abalos himself?
Absolutely not. As we said, in the war on drugs, only drugs won. We've had so many people killed. We've had a police turn out to be so drunk on power. It was during the Duterte administration as well that we noticed that there was a spike of, even to say, isolated incidents of police brandishing their firearms in front of unsuspecting civilians. We have the case of Nuesca. We have the case in Quezon City. So these policemen were so emboldened during the time of President Duterte, during this war on drugs, so to speak, because in this context, they were given a free hand to, quote-unquote, implement the law. And because of this, there has been such a boost to not only the morale of the police, but to the corruption processes or the systems of corruption in the police operation that had been existing already. So the war on drugs really did exacerbate the problems in the police system.
Juxtapose that with what...
So yun, essentially, yun nga, kino-confirm talaga niya yung analogy natin, yung analysis natin, na corrupt na nga yung police. Marami na nga sila yung mga, hindi, di ba? Sabi natin, police patola, police matulis, pero mga small time lang ang ninanakawan nila. Siyempre, mga patayan, kasama na yan, mga salvage, sa previous administration pa, kahit sa Aquino administration, pero mas grumabe sila ng Duterte administration dahil binigyan sila ng laya, binigyan sila ng power that they never had except during the Marcos Sr., Ferdinand Marcos Sr. administration, the late dictator. So, ngayon nang sila binigyan ng power, ng pera, kada tao daw ng pinapatay, mayroong binibigay ina-award ng 40,000, galing sa intelligence funds at saka ibang funds ng gobyerno. So, in-encourage sila, at yun, dahil doon, naging mas corrupt sila. Kung corrupt sila noon, kung noon, daan-daan lang ang ninanakawan nila, ngayon, daan-daan milyon. At na hindi pa silang kabusugan, at akala nila, as shown by the 6.7 billion drug cover-up, akala nila dahil addict na sila sa pera, sanay na sila sa pagiging buhay milyonaryo, buhay bilyonaryo, buhay mayaman, itinuloy-tuloy pa rin nila ito. At dahil, yan nga, tulad ng sinabi ni Attorney Conti, andyan sa possession nila sa mga pulis ang 11,900 kilos of shabu na ninakaw nila, na practice na ang tawag ay ninja cups. Noon pa naman yan ninja cups, pero ngayon lang talaga sa time ni Duterte, umabot ng bilyon-bilyon ang hawak nila. Doon ninanakawan na nila, pero maghahalaga lang 50,000, 100,000, 60,000, mga ganun lang. Pero nung dumating ng time ni Duterte, billion na. Kumbaga, na-level up na nila thanks to Tatay Digong. Na-level up na sila thanks to Tatay Digong.
Arsenio Boy Evangelista, chairman of the VACC, told me yesterday. This is what he's saying. He's basically saying that the drug war under Duterte's watch was successful because there was fear on the ground. There was a sense of getting caught. But knowing, again, going back to the revelations of Secretary Abalos, do you really think that, you know, it was successful in a sense that the syndicates left and operated somewhere else? Or do you think that they just really retreated into the shadows, enduring just the 6 years, only to be let out now? Because even Mr. Evangelista is saying they're back. They're now taking to the streets again. But does that point to you that the drug war was really actually successful to begin with? Go ahead.
There's so many aspects to this question, but first, we think that the war on drugs, or Plantokha, was launched on the wrong premises. So although it supposedly had, well, one, there's this question of what was the number of drug addicts in the Philippines really? Because there was this point about Duterte overinflating the number from a few 100,000 to about 1 million. And like setting the stage that the Philippines is so riddled with drug addicts, which is why he needed to go after these drug addicts. And then second, that these drug addicts were the ones committing crimes on the ground, like snatching, etc. Things that these petty thieves to be connected to drug were clearly the people supported, thus the war on drugs. With these wrong premises, the drug war was really bound to fail. What wasn't proposed or presented in the first place was how the supply and demand chain met up in the Philippines. Yes. For one, the supply chain appears to still be intact. In fact, at the latter end of the administration, there was this alleged shipment, shipment that was alleged to be, I think, intercepted off one coast. And this was a big shipment. So therefore, the supply chain into the Philippines still hadn't been hindered or stopped in any way. On the demand side, you had all these people killed, but not all of them were drug addicts or the ones who were buying the drugs. And so the demand still persists. And you only had those who could not defend themselves, who died. But those who could, the rich, the powerful, those who had parents in the right places, would certainly get away with it. And now that, so to speak, the situation has eased a bit, well, they can just go on and continue with the trade. And the most glaring factor that happened and developed over the last 6 years is that the police got involved in the trade as well. As we see, and as was exposed by Mayo actually, the drugs that are confiscated by the police are taken and recycled in operations or taken to the streets and traded there.
Yun, nakita nyo na ang big picture kung bakit nag-fail. Nag-fail dahil kinonsentrate lang ni Duterte sa mga users, sa mga addict. Dapat ang sinasabi niya, i-concentrate mo yung imbudo, yung saan dumadaan yan. Ang dumadaan diyan sa mga drug lords, sa mga Chinese nationals, yan sana ang nag-concentrate kasi kung ipitin mo yung imbudo, putulin mo yung source, mawawala yung supply. Madali mo ma-address yung addiction problem kasi wala na sila. Maghutot na lang yan ng ano pa yung nilalagay sa underarm. So, madali mo, kung wala ng drugs, kung maputol mo yung supply, mas madali i-address kaysa putulin mo yung, patayin mo yung mga user, pero yung mga supplier, kasi ganito lang for every user na pinapatay, pupunta lang sila sa mga eskwelahan, sa mga sari-sari store, i-convert lang nila yung mga hindi addict para ibenta nila or bigyan nila ng drugs, pasample nila ng drugs para maging addict. So, kumbaga, hanggang may drugs, may addict. Pero kung alisin mo yung drugs, yung supplier, kahit yung addict, mahirapan at mag-ship sila sa marijuana. Pero at least less, pero madali rin madali makontrol yung marijuana kaysa shabu. Na kung kahit saan-saan na lang, at least marijuana, kailangan mo pa itanim sa labas, hindi pwede itanim sa loob. Pwede mo lagyan ng ilaw yan, pero mahal rin yung kuryente, ganon-ganon, kumpara sa shabu. So, sana yan ang ginawa, pero hindi. Kaya nakita itong kapalpakan sa sistema ng pulis at na-realize nila, uy, pwede pala na dahil lang inahabol ni Duterte yung mga user, at pinapakawalan yung mga drug lords, maging drug lord na rin tayo. Kunin natin yung supply ni drug lord, and then tayo magbebenta niyan. Anyway, may sagot tayo ni Tatang. Sagot tayo ni Tatay Diggs. So yun, that is the issue dito sa drug problem. That is the biggest mistake of the drug war under the Duterte administration. Kaya ngayon, andito na tayo sa problema natin. One of the many arrests lang ito. Marami po itong mangyayari at marami pang cover up na nangyayari. So tututukan po natin ito. So please share this vlog para malinawagan po talaga ng tao kung ano ba talaga ang problema ang true reason ng hindi naging successful, pumalpak at nag-iwan pa sa atin ng problema of a PNP na naging huge, big criminal drug organization in the country and perhaps all over the world. So, grabe po, grabing sitwasyon. And lahat yan, iniwan sa atin. Kasama na ng 13 trillion na utang, iniwan sa atin ni President Duterte. Sana ma-realize ito ng mga followers niya. So, thank you very much for watching. And don't forget tututukan po natin itong issue. Don't forget to subscribe to the Vlogcaster Armandin YouTube channel. And see you in my next vlog.